At the same time, there's some rumblings here in Washington, very interesting rumblings. I'm not sure quite yet how to take it serious. Let's put it up there on the screen. From Politico, headline, Biden may not run. Top Dems are quietly preparing for it. The president no longer seems absolutely certain to go for a second term, leaving the party as top aides and potential candidates unsure about 24 and very quietly mulling whatever a plan B would look like. Now, I'm not quite yet sure what to make of this, Krystal, because previously the reporting was it's ironclad, it's totally good to go. The closest advisors, President Biden, all the people the president seeks.
They went ahead and rigged the DNC schedule.
Rigged the DNC primary, the South Carolina and all of that, all of the launch. It was supposed to happen sometime in April, but now the definitive date is moving. Nobody's quite yet said when the hard deadline or the formal process for actually arriving at the launch date decision will be. The final call was pushed aside. They continue to blame Kyiv or the holiday weekend trip more recently that he had taken. And he seems to be dithering as to what exactly he wants to do. And there's a lot of questions as to why exactly that is. We know that Jill Biden is one of the people that he takes most seriously, and her advice, it could be a concern over his age. We've talked about before, be 86 years old. He may not admit in public that his age is a problem, but clearly everybody else in the world is like, I can't even believe that anyone that old would ever seek re-election, let alone, continue to be in the Oval Office. But actually what really struck home for me was a part of the piece where they say, Biden is famously indecisive.
Yeah.
A habit exacerbated by decades in the Senate. And it actually harkens back to the Hillary time.
Yes.
Well, remember, in 2016, he was a serious possible candidate for president. He almost came close, had some advisors and people who were assembled behind him, and couldn't say yes, no. Obama famously kind of put the squeeze on him. Hillary in the DNC says, no, it's all Hillary's turn. He basically just eventually at the last minute, after Hillary's already announced, comes to the decision, says, okay, I'm not going to do it. Steps aside, continues to say it's one of the biggest regrets of his life in public. But he's now he's kind of displaying that same attitude. My personal opinion is I think he eventually will run.
Yes.
But having the, just because they have no other option, as long as he can still speak, like not even semi-coherently, like they're still going to do it just because there's too much at stake here. But this does demonstrate one of the biggest personal problems he's always had, the deliberation, the indecisiveness, and then he gets snappy whenever people try and actually point it out to him.
He's a micromanager who can't make a decision.
Yeah.
And it's a disastrous combination of traits for someone in terms of being in a management position. So, he's got all kinds of staffers who are ready to go for a presidential campaign. But, if he's not even making the first decision of, okay, I'm definitely doing it, well, then think of how they're paralyzed in terms of, okay, where do we do the headquarters? What does our launch look like? What themes are we leaning into? Let's get some polling going. Let's think about the Republican field. All of those sort of down the road decisions get paralyzed by an inability to make that very first decision. Now, do I think that Joe Biden is ultimately going to run again? Yes, I always have. I agree with you, Saagar. The calculus remains the same. They have a Kamala Harris problem. Maybe if he felt like he could easily hand the baton to somebody else, I don't know that it would be Pete at this point, but to somebody else that he felt like confident about, then maybe it would be different. But because it would be so hard to get around Kamala Harris, first Black woman vice president, I think he ends up getting pushed back into this again. And the other piece is the longer that he waits, if he does decide, all right, I'm just too old, I'm not going to do it, well, you have now really put all of the other contenders on the back foot who haven't had time to fundraise and make their moves, et cetera. And so you really have privileged Kamala Harris in this process. I mean, right now, if you look at the polls, she's the person who is in the lead just sort of by default. So the longer you wait, the more you make Kamala Harris inevitable. And I think Biden and everybody else in D.C. is at least intelligent enough to know that that could be a complete disaster. So I do think ultimately this is just him being his classic indecisive self. He'll probably ultimately come around to running again. But it's interesting that this sort of chatter is going on right now.
Right. So in terms of the contenders, everybody wants to know. So here's the list that Politico has put together. You've got Pritzker, the governor of Ohio. I think he comes from a billionaire family, or sorry, Illinois, but comes from a billionaire family. That can't hurt in terms of putting together an instant campaign. What was it recently that he did where he was having some macho moments where the press was liking?
Pritzker captured like leftist imagination for a moment. First of all, everybody loves a big boy, so there's that.
That's true.
Number two, it was just like
it was on gun control.
He actually did a few things as governor that he promised he was going to do, and people were like amazed by that.
Okay.
There was something too of like he cut the gasoline tax when energy prices were really sky high, and then he had forced all the convenience stores to put on the sign like this is because of Pritzker's.
I would do it too. Smart.
So,
good.
I think he lifted the minimum wage, some things like that. So anyway, that's JB Pritzker.
Okay, so we got Pritzker. That's one person. Apparently, Phil Murphy, the governor of New Jersey, is taking a look. Amy Klobuchar plans to seek re-election to her Senate seat. Krystal's famous, I'm taking a hard look at Amy Klobuchar. I guess the hard look continues for people in the media. Elizabeth Warren, apparently, is another list, although she's getting up there in age herself. Bernie, they put the list. Ro Khanna, somebody who's been here on the show, but keeping his options open, obviously. So that's a list that they've put together. I think it's remarkable that Buttigieg and Kamala weren't. Or I guess those are just so obvious that they're saying that there are other people that are keeping it. So anyway, we don't know exactly, but at the very least, these pieces are good because they either cause anger or silence from the White House. So inevitably, they will be asked about it. They will be asked for comment. And then their own way that they handle it and what it will spur in the future. If it continues to see inaction, then there's still a possibility. And if it spurs action or gets Biden moving, then it'll go in the different direction. But regardless, it is important. It's one of the widely read places here in Washington where everybody keeps an eye on. And we thought it was absolutely worth covering.
Hey guys, ready or not, 2024 is fully upon us now, and Saagar and I have been brainstorming ways that we can really up our game for this critical election.
Yeah, we rely on our premium subs to expand our coverage, to add staff, to upgrade the studio. We just want to give you the best independent coverage of this election, which is possible. So if you can help us out, become a premium subscriber today, breakingpoints.com, or the link is down here in the description video. It really means the world to us, and if you like what we're all about, this is the best possible way to keep us 100% independent, working only for you.